Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. It's Tuesday and the patch notes have been posted, which means it's time to count down the top 5 changes of patch 11.11. On top of being a lucky patch, make sure you guys get your wishes in, 11.11 contains a bunch of important changes. Some patch weeks I really have to struggle to find out which ones are more important than others. This one is very obvious. There's a ton of stuff that changed, so let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and hop right into things, starting with our number 5 change, the buffs to Hecarim. Now, Riot had to obviously nerf him down because he was a dominant presence in pro play. He was doing absolutely everything, especially with his tank builds, and so then they hit him with a bunch of nerfs to sort of get him off of those tank builds and get him out of the metagame. The problem is they kneecapped Hecarim too hard, and he's just been feeling really under the weather to play over the last couple of weeks, so Riot are finally going to be buffing him back up. Now, all these buffs are just going to be giving him buffs back in his aggressive fighter build, so they're not going to bring back tank Hecarim by any stretch of the imagination. It basically just means that if you're playing Hecarim and you're playing him fighter, you're going to feel much better, and he's going to feel even better given that Divine Sunder is also getting buffed in this patch, so if you are going a more aggressive Sunderer Hecarim build, you're actually going to feel really good on this patch, so you can be quite excited for that. The number 4 change here is going to be to Morgana. Now, Riot, if you haven't been paying attention to MSI at all this year, you probably don't know that Morgana is the de facto best jungler in the game, or at least one of them. Her jungle clear is absolutely nuts. She can do multiple camps at a time, and then clear your top side while you're still finishing your second buff camp. She's just absolutely been crazy, especially given that she can take Predator, which gives her a lot of ability to set up plays and make ganks happen that ordinarily she couldn't. Now, for those of you who are saying, well, Riot specifically put her in the jungle, so why are they mad she's strong? Riot wanted her to be playable in the jungle. They didn't want her to be the best jungler in the game by virtue of the fact that she clears super fast. So they are going to be pulling back slightly on the changes they made. She's going to be dealing less bonus damage against non-epic monsters. What this means is that Morgana jungle will still be possible. You'll still be able to play it, but it won't be the best jungler in the game. And more importantly, jungle Morgana won't be the strongest place where Morgana gets played, so you'll still be able to play her in support and mid lane without feeling like you're missing out on the raw power of jungle Morgana. So big fan of where these changes are going to land at, and hopefully they do what they are advertised to do and get her out of the jungle as one of the best junglers. Moving on to the Yi changes here at number 3. Now, these are two part of a change where Riot are trying to get champions to stop building in a particular way that removes a lot of the counterplay they're supposed to have. In particular, this is referring to the Duskblade Lethality Yi build, where Yi is supposed to be dependent on auto attacks in order to actually kill his enemy champions. This is why he tends to default to the on-hit or critical strike chance builds. The Duskblade build, however, basically relies on Master Yi alpha striking and killing you with the alpha strike damage plus maybe one auto attack afterwards. Then he gets the invis, he can wait out the last couple seconds for alpha strike to come back up, and then he just keeps alpha striking until your whole team is dead. In a way, it's super reminiscent to AP Yi back in the day, and I think you only have to ask a couple vets how they feel about AP Yi to know how horrendous that was. So Riot are nerfing down very slightly the damage ratio on Alpha Strike to make it less about the damage and more about the ability to close on an enemy while being untargetable, which is a big part of playing Master Yi, using that ability to dodge enemy crowd control, and buffing up very slightly the base damage on Wuju style, so Yi is more incentivized to go with those on-hit builds that have a lot more counterplay to it than the bursty, assassin, lethality, Duskblade builds that he's currently going. So this may not be enough to fully get him off of those Duskblade builds, but at the very least, it will make them less attractive in the face of Master Yi being able to build his sort of on-hit builds and feel better about it. Moving on down to the next champion who's receiving some of these changes to get them off of a degenerate build. It's Senna at number 2. Senna is getting nerfed down because of the tank playstyle she has in conjunction with Frostfire Gauntlet, which allows her to have some pretty insane pick potential on top of just making her really, really hard to kill thanks to her untargetability, her healing, on top of building a ton of resistances, and then getting more thanks to the Frostfire Gauntlet passive here. So these changes on Senna herself are less a nerf and more, again, in the same vein as Master Yi, trying to incentivize her to go for other builds. Riot are nerfing Frostfire Gauntlet here as well. The slow amount and the slow cooldown have both been increased, or sorry, the slow cooldown has been increased, the amount has been reduced, so for ranged users specifically, so Senna will feel worse with a Frostfire Gauntlet, and these changes are intended to then compensate by saying, okay, yeah, Senna, you can't build this tank build anymore, but here are some other options. So She's also taking a bit of a reduction on the bonus attack range per 20 miss stacks she receives, so she won't have as much attack range as she used to per stacks, but she also has some additional AP ratios on her R and her E if she wants to go that route, and her Q now has a bonus lethality healing ratio, so she can get a lot more healing if she does go for a more aggressive lethality approach. Either way, I do think this is going to be enough, especially after the Frostfire Gauntlet nerfs, to get Senna to stop building in that sort of degenerate fashion and to get her back more towards the builds that she's supposed to be known for. So big fan of these changes, and I think they will accomplish what they set out to do. Finally, we're going to be talking about some top lane itemization, specifically Bramble Vest. Bramble Vest was intended to be the Grievous Wounds answer, so you're against someone like a Dr. Mundo or a Fiora or an Aatrox, and you absolutely need heal cut, so you build a Bramble Vest. The problem is Bramble Vest is just an overall excellent counter to like 90% of common top lane champions, because it gives a ton of armor, it gives the damage reflection that scales with your armor, so if you're stacking more armor, allows you to sort of win trades off the back of that, and it has the Grievous Wounds as sort of an extra cherry on top, as it were. Riot have essentially all but removed the damage reflection. There's still a little tiny bit of magic damage you take back from auto-attacking some with the Bramble Vest, and the armor has been reduced as well. So really, Bramble Vest has been refined to be about the Grievous Wounds, not about anything else. So if you absolutely have to stop healing, Bramble Vest will still be your first buy, but if you don't really care about the Grievous Wounds and you were just buying it because it was efficient, you're going to feel a little bit worse about it. In sort of to fill up the gap left by Bramble Vest being nerfed down in this way, Riot have buffed up a ton of other tank items to make them more attractive as first purchases. The Warden's Mail change here initially looks like a nerf because the percentage scaling is down, but the fact that it now blocks a flat amount of damage matters so much in the early stages of the game. 5 damage per auto attack means a ton at early phases, so Warden's Mail is now an efficient answer to auto attack heavy champions in the top lane that may not have a ton of healing. Urgot immediately springs to mind. A Warden's Mail will go a long way towards reducing the damage off of every single W hit you would ordinarily take. And this change also carries over to Randuin's Omen and Frozen Heart, making them more attractive as a second buy as opposed to the Thornmail that everyone is currently doing. On top of that, Warmog's Armor has a super spicy change in that it now only takes 1100 bonus health to activate the minimum health requirement for Warmog's Heart versus 3000. For those of you doing the math at home, this means you only need 300 bonus health to turn it on as opposed to a bunch more than that. So this makes Warmog's Armor super attractive as a secondary item because not only will that bonus health you got from your Mythic help turn it on, but it also has resistances on your Mythic to then multiply the health that you'll be getting from Warmog's Armor. So really spicy, and you can expect to see a lot more Warmog's Armor in your near future. And that's going to be it, guys. Those are the top 5 changes on patch 11.11. Like I said, there's a ton of important things here, so definitely make sure you guys are checking out the patch notes yourself in order to see everything that is going to be going live. Let me know what changes you're most excited for down in the comments section below. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts. If you enjoyed the video today, go ahead and leave it a like. And if you really enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days like today as well. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all later.